that, Mark. Well, of course, if migration is affecting the states, but the migrants are getting a lot of support and a lot of money thrown at them, is the same thing happening for the ordinary man and woman in the street? It appears maybe not in UK. Is that correct, David?
Well, we're being ever more highly regulated. So this next story, it's now, you now require a government licence to operate a bed and breakfast in Scotland. If you have a holiday home, a flat or yurt, a cottage, a lodge, a guest house, or even a spare room, you need government permission and you need to have a government licence in order to, well, do anything with that. So we've got here mygov.scot, a website which the very name of which I find offensive because we are not a government and they are not us, but it's describing an overview of short-term let licences. So from the 1st of October, just passed, you must have a licence before you offer short-term lets. Operating without a licence is a criminal offence and you could be liable to a £2,500 fine. So that's what they're threatening us with. There's many types of licence. Even if you're just sharing a single room in your home, this requires a licence. So it's very comprehensive and it's also very confused. So we have the Times here talking about the utter confusion because it transpires that having a home swap where you swap your house with somebody else and you both go on holiday in the other person's house and no money changes hands, that is also going to require a licence in Scotland, even though it was announced initially that this wasn't the case. So hence the confusion. And we have here a piece from the National on this, but they do quote at length Fiona Campbell from the Association of Scotland's Self-Caterers. So she represents the ordinary small businessmen, businesswomen who are running all these little ventures around Scotland that makes the tourist industry work. And she said, today it's with a heavy heart that I have to apologise to self-catering businesses and small accommodation operators across Scotland and to everyone whose business and livelihoods depend on tourism, who will feel the effect. Unfortunately, the Scottish Government has chosen to ignore small business owners, and the arguably unintended consequences of this legislation will begin to take hold and impact across Scotland in the coming months. It's with sincere regret that I feel have let down responsible business owners who have made life-changing decisions to close their doors as a result of the Scottish Government's intransigence. The legislation doesn't add up, and it's already destroying people's livelihoods. So this seems to be the pattern. The livelihoods of ordinary men and women are being destroyed by the state at every turn. And just to finish this, we have a tweet from the excellent Moya Ali, who's done so much to try and improve the state in Scotland. She says, "Rest in peace, my pension. I now can't let my flat anyway. The retrospective planning requirements is an effective ban. Well done, Greens. You've essentially adversely affected my income and hence that of the public purse. There's less money for social housing now." And what she's explaining here is that not only do we have this extra legislation, but we've got the planning law is being used to change people's behaviour. And there's a lot of this coming about. Renting out a room or putting a short-term let with a flat or your main residence has been defined as sui generis, a kind of its own under planning law. And you therefore need to have a planning consent for change of use to make your dwelling capable under planning law of being used as a holiday let. And this is how things which were perfectly legal are being made illegal and made impossible in this heavily regulated society.
Thank you, David. And of course, the other thing happening is that the government is hoovering up a lot more data about people. Presumably that they'll be taking tax off this in the not too distant